Hello everybody, Mrs. Bizicki here, and we are going to spend time today going through our qualitative and quantitative observations notes. Observation is the most important thing we do in science. It is the backbone of all scientific research, of all scientific understanding, and it's really a huge part of being a human being. We spend our lives from when we are born to our entire lifetime observing things, using our senses, using measurements all day, every day. So we're going to talk about the two different types of observation and how they're used in our chemistry class and in science in general. Cool. Let's start with what is an observation? So an observation is describing an object using your five senses or measurement. And obviously you know your five senses, right? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, although in chemistry we don't often taste things. And measurement like numbers, height, weight, length, all different types of things. So the two main types of observations are qualitative and quantitative, and every observation that you can make is divided into one of these two categories. So it's got to be one or the other every single time. Qualitative. So notice that I highlighted qualit or qual, all right? Describe an object's qualities. So when you think of a quality, right, people always say quality over quantity, right? Quality is based on fact and the five senses. So sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. You might say something like, it's a red color. So if you look at the candies, for example, that are in the picture, right, you could describe those as red and green. They have white in them. They have a wrapper. There are two little, there's some plastic in that wrapper. The background is black in the picture. There's a ton of things that you can talk about here that are not related to numbers. You're just making qualitative observations. Okay, pretty simple. So if we look at this adorable bunny, and I just can't, this picture just kills me every time. Things like what it smells like, or it smells terrible, or it smells like chicken, or maybe the bunny smells like fur. I don't even know. Hairy, if something is hairy or fuzzy or furry. Color, size, small, large, anything that you can do to describe that bunny. So if I was going to describe the bunny, right, I would say it's gray, it's got a black eye, it's got pink in his ears. He appears to be very hairy. He has a nose. He is sitting on something white and fluffy. And I could go on and on describing this bunny, right? I could also look at this picture forever because it's just adorable. Now, quantitative, and again, notice that I put an emphasis on the quant, describe quantity, right? What does the word quantity mean? Well, quantity means number. So this is when we're using numbers as measurements or to count. Scientists prefer quantitative observation because realistically they're more accurate, right? Usually we're talking about using units or metric and decimals, but we don't usually use fractions in science. There are exceptions to that, but for the most part we don't use fractions. Why are they more accurate? Well, let's think about this. If I said to you, wow, you're really tall, right? I'm 5'1", so I'm pretty small, right? So everybody is tall to me, right? But if I said something like, oh, you are 6'8" tall, then you're like, wow, that person really is tall. That's pretty tall. Whereas somebody that's taller than me might only be 5'9", but to me, they're tall because they're much taller than me. So the numbers aspect makes things a lot more accurate. Other examples of quantitative measurements would be things like density, length, radius, which I'm sure you've all done in math, area, volume, mass or weight of an object. So anything that involves numbers is quantitative. Okay. And here's a picture of a graduated cylinder. We will use these a lot when we get into class. Right? So again, qualitative is when we talk about qualities. things that don't involve numbers. Quantitative, we're looking at things that involve numbers. I hope that makes things a little bit easier to understand. There is a worksheet that goes along with this where I just give you a bunch of examples of observations and you have to tell me if they are qualitative or quantitative. So make sure you get that worksheet done in practice and please join me for a synchronous session for more information on making observations in science. Hope you guys have a great day.